So, I think the next burning question on everyone's mind after figuring out who could actually, like, beat that fucker is who could befriend it. Because, what there is in love makes up for war, or some shit. I don't know, I haven't read Dr. Seuss. The main point, though, is that whoever can befriend the jockey is perhaps as powerful as the same person who can kill them. And in that regard, things might be a lot different. However, there might be more overlap than you expect at the same time. So right off the bat, just like last time, I suppose it's the same order, we've got 2 years ago. And again, I don't know much about him. I really don't. It makes things a little bit harder, but honestly, I'm gonna go with good friends. Like, they just kind of exude the same energy, you know? Like, it sounds passive aggressive, but I mean in a good way. They're both the Paris gods. So I think that they're good. I think they're gonna chill out. So, I will remind you again that Aciidz could be held like a fucking football by this man. However, however, at the same time, I think that kind of builds a sense of camaraderie. Like, you know how you're always, picking on your friends or whatever, you know? Yeah, that's Aciidz and the Jockey. I mean, mostly just the Jockey. But, at least a one-sided friendship. So, Bruno, right, might actually be too cool for the Jockey. Because you really gotta think about it, he is one erratic motherfucker. He is, like, not okay. He is not chill. Right? I think it doesn't mesh well. However, there's one thing that I would like you to keep in mind, which is that they both love to throw.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
You let go, or did you didn't do it?
It was about to fucking be bad.
Dude, so you hold on to it. You don't fucking let go. That's trolling. You just trolled.
So, yeah, I think you'll understand why he's a good friend. Burhac's a bit of a tricky one. The main thing, right, is... I mean, Burhac went in on the scene, right? Up until this point, the Jockey's barely seen bunny hopping. Like, it's something he knows about, but it's not intimidating. Burhac comes on the scene, and he fucking gets all upslip hops up the fucking cemetery. Like, what do you do? If you're in that situation, think that you're the Jockey for a second. I know it's hard to have empathy, but think about it. If you face this shit for the first time in your entire... I mean, what? He came around, like, your entire fucking, 7-year life, right? 8-year life. What the fuck do you do? Honestly, I would hire a hitman, too. Like, that's fucked up Burhac. This might surprise you, but honestly, Choco and the Jockey, they'll be friendly acquaintances. Like, I don't think either one of them are quite the kind to hold a grudge, you know? Like, sure, an on-pace run gets killed by a Jockey, like, once or twice or, like, 20 times on dead center, you know? Maybe he comes up behind him on the fucking ramp, on the bus. But, it's fine, they're chilling, it's fine. They'll bull together, maybe. So kind of the same deal as last time with Mr. Leafman, right? He knows the ins and outs of the game, right? Like, he fucking knows his shit, right? I think a lack of knowledge is kind of screwing me on this one, honestly. Because, I mean, how cunning is he? Do you think Mr. Leafman can turn that knowledge into something he can manipulate the Jockey with? Or do you think it'll kind of just fail and the Jockey will get pissed at him? I have also seen, from the few interactions with Mr. Leafman, that he's just kind of a nice guy, right? And you gotta remember, this is the Jockey. So I don't think they can be good friends. Unless he can prove that manipulation. Because he has the knowledge base, however, he's too nice for him. So, honestly, I can see Mr. Dema and the Jockey getting along quite well. I don't think they're best friend material. I just don't think they quite are. However, I definitely do think that they could, like, relate on some sort of level, right? Like, I don't know. Plus, it's like he hasn't run too much, you know, and the jockey loves preying on the weak and new. So it kind of gives him points there too. So, all right, Failzzz in the jockey. It's really tough to say, man. I think I think I can only imagine them being enemies. Because Failzzz, he's really good at the game, right? He knows this game in and out. Just from playing it. But that means I have history. Like, plenty of people have... I mean, fuck. I mean, Aciidz has history, right? But, like, he has history across every game mode, across every platform, right? So, I don't know. I think the jockey is petrified. What's more, I don't think Failzzz is that excited to befriend him either. I really don't see Friberger and Jockey getting along. The thing is, just like the rest of us, I think that he's afraid of Friberger. Because, I mean, fuck, we just don't know anything about him, right? Like, he watches him have, like, fucking perfect strace on hard rain, and he's like, what the fuck? You know, like, he's just kinda winning. Intharth is, you know, an interesting one. I think that they'd be good friends. Yeah, I think they'd be good friends. I don't think the jockey likes that he's quit playing the game. I think that's kind of a demerit. However, you know, Intharth is the friendly neighborhood shit poster, which surely the jockey would love. And, you know, just all sorts of funnies. I think Intharth has got it. So, this is where my knowledge base has been expanded, right? Recently, Vogel, in one of his, you know, Dark Carnival finales, he actually boosted the Hunter. And the thing is, right, you might think maybe Killer might even bully the jockey too much. I think they're gonna play co-op together. I think this is a fucking good idea. I don't know. Honestly, this needs to happen. Like, fucking, that's the dream team right there. So, you have to consider, right, Lokki is... I mean, he's one of the people where no question they would kick their ass, right? Like, he's one of the people that no one would argue he wouldn't have kicked their ass. So... like, with that level of intimidation and the jockey's ego, dude, he is afraid. He is truly afraid. Just physically, spiritually, emotionally, Lokki has fucking petrified the jockey. There's no way he hasn't. I feel like Luna has a pretty fucking good chance of befriending the jockey, honestly. He's just says the most base shit, he's so friendly. Doesn't even get mad at the game, right? Which, I don't know, maybe that's a slight demerit for the jockey, but I feel like there's also just going to be no bad blood as a result. I just feel like Luna has the perfect opportunity to actually befriend the jockey. Honestly, like, if we're actually ranking this, he's, like, the biggest bestie, I think. You know, I'm kind of shocked to say that when I think about it. Even though I've watched a couple Mario runs, I haven't really seen Mario react to the jockey very much, you know? I just, you know, I have a feeling that they could maybe be friends, right? I think the main thing holding Mario back right now is he needs to get him, like, some designer shit, like he got the Boomer, right? If he can get those, like, fucking, I don't know, those, like, dumbass-looking shoes, right? If he can get those on the jockey, I think that they're gonna be besties. Maybe the biggest besties, but for now, I just think they'd get along, because Mario's cool. It's fine. So, the thing with Matthew, right, is that the jockey is going way too slow to catch up with him on Dead Center or Dark Carnival. Like, I mean, that simple, they're not gonna catch up. Like, what do you want? Are they gonna become friends? I don't think there's much to stay in there, but they're certainly not gonna be able to become buddy-buddy, you know? Mike is actually a lot like the Leaf Man, you know? He knows enough about the game, where I really do think that he could manipulate the jockey, right? But, and the thing here is, I do think, right, Mike is too objective. He talks too much about programming, right? He would bore the fuck out of the jockey. I love him, but I don't think the jockey would. I think the jockey would get kind of mad pretty easily. Like, even the fact that he made SST, like, Oh. Wait, he made the auto bee hopper. Like, he is... Yeah, no, they're not gonna get along. They're not gonna get along. He will bore the jockey's small attention span, and then he'll fucking piss him off. Okay, this one's kind of long-winded, but hear me out here. Ned is on an entire different level. Not only is he an absolute beast against the jockey, but there's actually a 100% chance that he would not only befriend the jockey, but be the only person that could start a duo band with him. So Ned Flanders, right, and you'll have to bear with me here. Ned Flanders is named after Ned Flanders from The Simpsons. And if you actually really dive into the character, if you know anything about the lore surrounding him, you'd actually know about a hit band called Okily. It's like a hardcore metalcore band, right? And it's themed around Simpsons lyrics. And then you have the jockey. What does jockey remind you of? You put disc before it. Disc jockey. DJ. So we have the lead singer of Okily, and we have a disc jockey. What does that fucking mean? They're bandmates. What does bandmates mean? He's his own fucking tier. And you might be thinking, there are plenty of bands that don't absolutely love each other. You can go fuck yourself. Their bond is beyond that. Right. And if that doesn't convince you, I straight up don't fucking know what will. He is going to, like, oh my god, he is going to new fucking heights. So you might be thinking, you know, Jockey Fear? You might be thinking Jockey Force Field. Well, but, like, that's kind of the thing, though. The jockey's a person, too. You know, you gotta feel for him sometimes. That Jockey Force Field is really putting distance between him and Patryk, and I don't think the jockey wants that. I think he longs to befriend Patryk, and I think that Patryk is just spitting in his face. Not cool, dude. So, I really like Rory's streams, because he can put up the best conversations, right? I think that as long as he can find some sort of common ground, that he could absolutely smooth talk the jockey. The thing about that, though, alright, is, are we talking jockey AI, which I think we are, or are we talking a versus player? Because holy fuck, if it's a versus player, like if he's on the same team as the jockey, don't think so. We're just going AI, though, right? We're just going, you know, amigos AI. He's a bestie. It's fine. Silent is kind of the same deal as Friberger. I don't really think they could become best friends with the sort of well, silence between them, you know? I feel like every time I see them together, he crushes the jockey, and then he doesn't even say hello to him. Pretty fucked up. Pretty fucked up. Maybe if they knew each other better, the jockey would love him. Maybe. So, the thing with Skytis is, he is the pun man, right? Is that a good or bad thing for the jockey? I would elect that it's a terrible thing, right? I don't think the jockey is smart enough, patient enough, or, quite frankly, even just willing to hear that many puns. So, honestly, I think Skytis is on the top of his shit list. I think that things are not going to end well for Skytis if he ever meets the jockey. Right? Well, actually they will, because he'll beat the fuck out of him. But, like, if he's on amicable terms and the jockey is not, then rest in peace. That's pretty bad. Right, so you know how I said earlier that if Mario made a fashion design for the jockey, they would be better friends? Well, look no further. Slayur is basically the jockey's #1 fan. He's like his paparazzi. So, honestly, I think that they'd get along pretty well. I think that the jockey might get an ego boost from, like, kind of ignoring him, right? He's like, oh, look at him, a fan making pictures of me. But I think if they did talk, yeah, they'd get along really well. The Master has a lot of experience, and he seems like a pretty cool dude. So, you know what? I think there's no bad blood there. I think they could just kind of, you know, chill out. You know, talk about his bird, his sick-ass bird. And maybe just laugh at some of the newcomers. I think the jockey and master would get along quite well, actually. So TRG is very friendly and very cool. I fucking love TRG. Thing is, though, I think, you know, kind of same deal as last time even. Killer really fears him. I think that the jockey would fear him a little bit too. I think they'd become friendly acquaintances, but he would be afraid to cross that threshold. It has been my lifelong dream since I was a little kid to befriend the jockey. I would lay in bed every night holding my Jockey doll and listening to my Jockey remixes on my phone, hoping one day that I would meet him and we would rejoice. But honestly, I don't think he cares. I think he's like a little bitch and I hate him. This wretched game wears down on a man, grinding down his will and reducing him to his barest parts. And yet, through all of that, Vogel has kept playing. Vogel and the jockey have such a storied history together. So much chemistry that there's no way they couldn't be best friends. They've been through the best of times, they've been through the worst of times. No one has more shared experience than the jockey and Vogeltek himself. The jockey and Waifu do not have much in common. I think the main way you could convince me that a Waifu and the jockey could actually be friends is perhaps, you know, a Skater or something, right? Like, I don't know, I can kind of see the... You know, yeah, I can see the jockey and Waifu actually just fucking shredding some rails together, right? Like, they would fucking skateboard till the end of dawn, actually. Yeah, no, I think they'd be friends. Zephy and the jockey have a long and bitter history. I have seen Lulu die to a jockey so many times during runs, and, I mean, it's just unenjoyable. I mean, especially on Dead Center, you just see it grinding down on your will and ruining your life. And you might expect from this. No fucking, like Lulu would hire the hitman, right? Well, you're forgetting, she's from the Midwest. So yeah, that about wraps things up. I think we've got our all-star tier list. You know, I guess you could point out that Choco is also from the Midwest, but I think that's just implied. Yeah, I think we're good.